Hi, y'all. Happy Saturday. This is Heather Clark at Running Totally Free. And I was walking today, having a wonderful sun filled walking experience, pushing my son in his stroller, which I so enjoyed because we've had some really random weather this week during all the days that I've exercised. It has been cold, it's been rainy, just kind of miserable. I'm not really in favor of squishy shoes when I run. Anyway, so today I felt inspired by a sermon that was preached by Louie Giglio, who happens to be the pastor of the church, Passion City Church in Atlanta, Georgia, that I and my husband have been attending for about 3 years. And I was listening to it today and felt that there were some words that he shared that I just had to share with you. Not only for those who are on the Financial Peace University journey, but those of you who are endeavoring on any kind of New Year's resolutions, life changes, just sick of things being the way that they are. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to quote some of the things that he said in his sermon, which was entitled The Pinata and the Iceberg. And I have some notes to the left of me, so forgive me if I keep referring that way. I just am not capable of remembering it all. Okay, so one of the first things that Louis said was that God's thinking about more for you than a New Year's resolution. Surely New Year's resolutions are great. They're awesome. It's wonderful at the beginning of the year to feel like you have a fresh start. Everyone likes that, especially after just the craziness of Christmas. I mean, even just the amount of stuff that's in our house. We've got the Christmas tree and the lights, and we've got the gifts, and we've got the crafts, and we've got the cookies, and it's just, I don't know about you, but my house feels invaded, and by the time January comes, I just want it out. So he's not dissing New Year's resolutions by any means, but he wants to encourage us to look a little deeper into what God may have for us in the year. He says, let's think about the long term of becoming the people God wants us to become, to start on the journey towards something that's greater than what we've experienced in the past, that we should be looking to become the someone who is greater than we have lived with in the past. You know how it is. I mean, we know each other the best. We know ourselves the best, I should say. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of some aspects of my personality, sick of some habits that I've had, and I'd really like to change. And I think God wants me to change too. So that stuck out for me a whole lot. The other thing he said is that we are all a product of the choices that we make. I think anybody can admit to that, whether or not you are a believer in Jesus Christ. You've seen that happen in your own life. First, we make our habits, and this is Louis quoting from somebody else. First, we make our habits, and then our habits make us. Gosh, isn't that the truth? We are the products of what we do repeatedly, consistently, systematically. Whatever we do over and over again, this is actually who we are. We are not what we dream about being, what we kind of imagine in our mind in this perfect little imaginary world. Usually on our good days, sometimes on our bad days, we're thinking about this horrible person that we feel like we are. But we are what we do consistently. At the beginning of the year, it's important to think about the person that God wants us to be. Who we become is all about the habits we create and the habits that we curate in our lives. Now, I felt like this was some good stuff for us because all week during my periscopes, I've been sharing about just showing up. My point in all of that was to help us to come up with ways to organize even just things in our house, calendars, posters, just schedules, putting actual physical things that we need through the week in places in our house to strategize, to make sure that, especially on our most tired day when it feels really difficult, that everything would be in place to ensure our success so that all we had to do was show up. Sometimes that's all we have the energy for. I know you guys understand this. So I really felt like Louie Giglio from Passion City Church brought this into perspective. Yes, our habits are truly what has created who we are. We can't deceive ourselves when we look at what our habits are. And so a good thing to think about this weekend, before the next work week starts, before all the hubbub of activity begins again, is, okay, what are the habits that I've created? What do I want to change? Is there anything in my home that I can set up to make my habits different? What do I have to do to just show up? But then to push that a little bit further, to take it a little further, especially if you are a religious person, is to take it to another level. Start to pray over, what is it that God wants me to be? Who's the person that He has called me to be? For myself, I like to think about, if I were to die tomorrow, which I know is a little gloomy kind of thought, but if I were to die tomorrow, what would I want my children to remember of me? Because when I think that way, it helps me to kind of categorize what is in my life and decide what are my largest priorities. What habits do I want to have created? So when they think about me and the life I lived, those things really show up in their memories. And then, of course, I don't think I'm different from anybody else, and perhaps this is some self-absorption, self-obsession on my part, but I want to make a difference here on this earth. I know I'm one person, and I live in the United States, and quite honestly, I have a pretty cushy life that I've gotten used to. But somehow, some way, I know that God has a place for me where I am and has things that He wants me to do. Now, to bring that back to Financial Peace University, God really was speaking to me this morning that I am not just my financial issues right now. I am a whole person, and God is using this to just sharpen who I am more completely into the person He wants me to be down the road, who He's chiseling away at to become. I think it was Leonardo da Vinci who said that when he looks at a piece of marble, he sees what it's going to be. And his job is just to get all the other marble out of the way so he can release that creation from the marble. How awesome is that? I really think that's how God sees us. He sees who we are supposed to be, and His work on us on this side of heaven is chiseling away at everything that's getting in the way of us becoming who we are called to be. I'm not called to be the same person as you. You're not called to be the same person as me. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that freeing to know that we don't have to compare each other to one another? So I really, really, guys, wanted you to hear that, because those are some hopeful words and good things to think about. I know that you don't have tons of time. Believe me, I get it. But if you have a chance, go to castroller.com and in the search engine, go to Passion City Church, and I believe the date is January 10th. And if you're going on a walk, or if you're washing the dishes, or if you're sitting in your bed right before you're going to sleep and need something to listen to, please listen to this sermon. It's fantastic. There's so much more to it than I shared, but I really think you're going to be energized and that you're just going to really be blessed by this. So I'm going to finish with this vlog, and then I'm going to start in my next vlog talking about at least part one of the personal story of Michael and I's journey that brought us to Financial Peace University. See you then.